absolutely true. You know, and one of the things you said was, you know, a lot of times the treasure is in the darkest cave. You know, you find your light in the darkness. You don't find light in light. You find light in dark.
It's true. It's true.
You can be the light, and you can be in the light, but you don't find the light in the light. You find the light in the dark. And yes, that is a scary place, and is a place that most people won't go because looking within is probably one of the most difficult things a person can do. And unless you are comfortable and confident enough in self to actually take that look within, you know, and Daniel, I forgot what you told me. How do you tell if you're what you are on the 1 to 9 on the Enneagram?
How do you tell
what you are? Or somebody has to ask you.
Through stilling your mind and going within. And there are many Enneagram tests online. I do coaching, and people can have sessions with me, and then they can explore it if just out of interest. I do sessions over Skype. I came to mine through coaching. I was having coaching at the time because my health was really poor, and I needed to recover from an incurable illness that I'd had for up to that point 16 years. And 2 years before, I'd been hospitalised, and I'd been paralysed down the left-hand side of my body, and my hand was like a claw, and I had iritis, which was my eye, whites of my eyes weren't really red, and I'd had, I mean, this isn't the nicest thing to say, sort of on keeping your vibration high, but I'd had suicidal depression for quite some years at that point. So I nearly shuffled off this planet in 2004 as a result of it. So ultimately, I've done everything that I can to raise my vibration and change my life. I was having coaching, and the coach who was having that with, a guy called Alex Howard down in London, who specialised in ME recovery, which is chronic fatigue syndrome recovery, that's more known in the States. They call it chronic fatigue syndrome. And he told me I was a 6, and I would probably have never really wanted to, had no interest, and I just think it was complete law of attraction. And I brought him into my life, and he took me under his wing for about 18 months down at the clinic there. And I was at one point going to work for him because it was, I don't know if you've heard of Harley Street, which is a most prestigious medical street where medicine is practiced privately in England, in London. And I nearly ended up working for the clinic, and we actually went our separate ways, and I came back home 100 miles away in the centre of England, and I started up my coaching practice up here, and I've been seeing clients of all different types of with all different types of issues since then. So, but how do you tell your type? Well, you can have coaching, that's one thing. You can go online, and there are many tests, and you can just go through them. There's if you Google Enneagram, actually, I've got something open at the moment in my window here. It says Enneagram of Personality, which is on Wikipedia, and it explains the 9 types there, and it explains the very simply, because it can be quite complicated, but I like to keep things simple, and you can look through that and understand each type and what it is that it's trying to get. Or there are some fantastic books, and I've got a book just down by me, and it's called the Enneagram Made Easy, which has cartoons in it, Lisa. Cartoons! That will raise your vibration and keep you laughing.
Is it Peanuts characters or who?
Well, they're just cartoons. They're just sort of cartoon characters. It's fascinating because it's like they all go to dinner, you know, and each one of them is saying a different thing, and they're so atypical to what goes on in each of those types. So just I'll give you an example if I can find one. He says, like, without even putting the thing in the page, talk amongst yourselves, please. So if I can find the dinner one. Oh, here with the dinner party. It's right at the beginning. And I fully recommend this book. It's by Renee Barron and Elizabeth Waggle, or Wagler. And they're all at the dinner party. Okay, and here's the type 1. The type 1 is known as the perfectionist, and the type 1 is going, not enough food groups represented here, because they said they suffer from quite a bit of anger because everything has to be perfect. It's got to be perfect. And then type 2s go, oh, this is you, Lisa. See if this is something you might say. It's like, it's great to feel needed. Oh, love it. Then
Oh.
the type three, which is also in love and approval, like one, like type two. Type three says, I need to eat and run. I'm swamped. They're all about wanting to achieve and move forward and push forward. Oprah Winfrey is a three, for example. Anthony Robbins is a three. Tom Cruise is a three. And they tend to have an incessant need for wanting to achieve and push forward. So time can be a bit limited, sort of like, well, actually you need to do this because I need to move on with this because there's somewhere better to get to. Then the other type, the other love and approval type is the type 4, and they're known as the individualist. I would say Jim Carrey was a type 4. Robbie Williams, the singer in England, is a type 4. And the type 4 says they can suffer with depression quite a lot, and quite often get labelled with manic depression. And the type 4 in here, sitting around the dinner table, is going, cheap caviar, shocking. They're just sort of a little bit. They suffer with envy, and they want to have sort of like a better experience, and hence they can suffer from depression a lot. Type 5s are quite shy. It's the first of these security types, and they tend to be quite resolved. And it's a typical type 5 comment here. It says, it's a talkative group. Good, that gets me off the hook, because they wouldn't really want to join in the conversation, because they'd rather step back and just watch things evolve. They tend to sort of like be a little bit more reserved than other types. Hence, I've always liked them, and I end up sort of talking to them because I don't find them as threatening, and they usually have a lot to say because they've got a wealth of knowledge. They're called the investigator, and they usually have a really investigative mind that has lots of knowledge, and they're always sort of getting knowledge and dumping it in their mind, but still feeling that it's not quite enough. When they get a little bit more, then they'll take action, but they tend to stand back from life a little bit. Hence, someone like Eckhart Tolle, who had a spiritual transformation at the age of 29, is now able to use all of that and step into sort of the mastery of all of that knowledge and provide that, for the universe and provide that for the world. Type 6, that's me, as well as, Ellen DeGeneres. She's a type 6, very, very fast talking, quite witty. And Tom Hanks is a 6. Princess Diana was a 6. There's been loads of ex-American presidents who are 6s. Even Hitler was a 6. But very, very unevolved 6. I'd like to say I'm distancing myself from Adolf Hitler right now. But a very, very unevolved counterphobic 6. And a typical 6 would say, she's leaving early. Doesn't she like us? They're always questioning, always going into sort of like, oh, well, why has that happened? Has that happened because of this? And what was that? Me? Was it them? Was it the food? So there can be the external thing of wanting that. So when they get that knowledge, then they can be sort of, so I want to feel safe. The other security type is the type 7, and the type 7 is sitting around the table going, first I'll eat, then I'll take some pictures, then I can go to my class then. They are all about the possibilities. Their mind goes on and on and on, and they don't suffer from worst case scenario, which is what 6s can suffer from. They suffer from best case scenario. So they find it very, very difficult to settle on one thing, and they have this monkey mind that goes from here to there to everywhere. Oh, now I could go for this, now I could go for that. And then when they get into relationships, they can find it really, really challenging because they will do anything to escape pain. Now, you could say we all do everything to escape pain, but 7s particularly will do as much as they can to escape pain. They could not stand being anywhere where sort of like they were trapped and, I need more fun, I need to do this. And they have an incessant need for the next best thing. So if they're in somewhere, it can be sort of, oh, well, do I really want to be here? Perhaps, it's like the grass is always greener. The ego is always going, oh, well, I'm here and I'm married to this guy and I'm earning this money and I'm doing this job and I thought this would make me happy, but ultimately, surely, maybe that would be good. So inside of them, they have this need for, it says on here, a planning, anticipation, and their basic desire is to be satisfied and content, and basic fear is being trapped in pain and deprived of happiness. Type 8s, the first of the control types. Type 8s are, Donald Trump is a type 8. They're leaders, they're born leaders, and they have a need for being in control, as all the three types are. But these types are wanting to lead, and it can be quite dominant. Their ego fixation is vengeance, and their basic fear is of being harmed, controlled, or violated. So their basic desire is of self-protection, and they're known as the challenger, the boss. And the type 8 around the table saying, pass it down, pass it all down here. They are lustful. And I'm going to mention about that because actually it all ties in with the 7 capitalist Christian sins. And because I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But the type 9s are control types as well. They're bang in the middle of the need for control. The Queen is a type 9. That's why she's not going to get off the throne. She's going to stay on the throne until sort of like she carks it, or sort of like, or trying to think sort of like an American term, sort of until until she dies basically. But she's going to stay on the throne because she's a control type and she wants to be in control. And I don't think she'll relinquish the throne until that happens. The Dalai Lama is a type 9. The Dalai Lama, and they're called the peacemaker, and ultimately they're a mediator. They like to be in control, and they like to keep the peace. So a type 9 would say, I feel close to everybody. They like to sometimes cause conflict in order to be able to heal it. They like being sort of the healer. And I've talked about type 1 right at the beginning. Type 1 is the other control type as well. So there you've got 9 types. And as I said about the Christian sins, the 7 capitalist Christian sins. So these all tie in because the type 1, can you know what the 7 capitalist Christian sins are? Well, I'll tell you. They are anger, pride, envy, avarice, gluttony, lust, and sloth. Now these all tie in with another 2 that were missed out years and years ago, and have got incorporated into the Enneagram. So anger is synonymous with type 1s. Type 2s, it's pride. Now, would you be able to offer sort of and say, yes, sometimes your pride gets in the way and stops you from doing things because you're a type 2, I think.
Yeah, we were debating on what I am and what I'm not.
Well, and it's
I'm not sure what I am.
Well, it's actually for an individual to type themselves. Don't go around typing. You can get into it, but don't go around typing your friends. I was told that, and I still fell into that trap because I got into it. And I thought, ooh, I think you're a type 2. But I've only done that because we had an hour conversation earlier, didn't we? Sort of like 2 weeks ago or something.
Yeah.
And you were interested in this, and you did ask me what type you thought you were, and hence I fed that back to you. But your basic desire is to feel loved, and the temptation is to deny your own needs, and for manipulation. I'm sure you're highly evolved and don't do any of that stuff anymore, do you, Lisa? And
I have to pay close attention because every once in a while I'm a bad girl.
What does that mean, Lisa? What does that mean? She's having a personal coaching session with right now in front of thousands of people, so don't worry about it.
I know. Okay, should I lay down on the sofa or what?
No. Just keep laughing. It's okay. Carry on.
Yeah. No, I think pride before, and I didn't realize it. I think pride before was an issue for me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been slapped pretty hard several times, more than once, repeatedly, and I'm not sure it was a slap. It's kind of like a 2x4.
Right.
So I don't know that pride is an issue. I do believe that we have particular things that we have to do, but because I have a belief, I don't believe anymore that everybody else has to do it, but I do believe that I have standards, and I believe that I have expectations of what it is that I expect of me.
Okay.
And so as far as letting that get in the way of other things, pretty much now I do let people pretty much be who they are unless it is impacting or affecting me in a negative way.
Well, the virtue of 2s is humility.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Does that resonate with you?
People have said that to me. They say pride and they say humility.
Uh-huh.
Again, I wasn't able to associate with that, and I still don't really see that, but you don't always see you the way that other people do either. So
Absolutely.
I feel like, I feel like I am pretty humble, Just because I have expectations of something doesn't mean that I'm boastful, prideful, or full of hubris.